This is the Sunday after the hurricane. Finally got the telescope put back together. So I don't know who's interested in this, but there may be somebody out there that is. So I figure I'd run through some of the slight improvements. Most of it's exactly the same, but there are a few improvements. Like I redid the power supplies for the, that's my auto, that's a remote focuser there. I'll do a functional on this in a little bit. But I redid the power supply, so I no longer have a great big 20 or 12 volt power supply sitting there. It kind of crapped out on me last time I used it anyway. So I got a couple laptop power supplies, and they're underneath the floor. So now the camera's power supply and the focuser power supply are a lot cleaner as far as their setup as it was before. I moved the telescope back. I don't know if you can see it. That mark is where it was before I took it apart for the hurricane. But when I rebalanced it, it balanced better if I moved it back that much. What is that, about an inch maybe? Because of the weight of the focuser. Anyway, here's your parts. This is a guide scope, 50mm guide scope. Does a pretty good job. It's hooked to a camera. That's a black and white CCD camera made by Orion. It's called a Star Shoot. That's what gives me the inputs that I show you on the screen with the red and the blue declination and right ascension correction chart. This telescope, which is an 8-inch telescope that I built by ordering an off-the-shelf mirror, and I built it. I had the metal rolled. I basically built the spider. I don't know how much of it you can see. That's a homemade spider, homemade secondary holder. But the mirror and the secondary mirror I bought back in 90. No, it'd be 90. I bought them back in 1990. I've had it re-illuminized twice. Since then it needs it again. Here's a close-up view of the focuser setup. I don't have the camera or the filter wheel installed. We'll do that here in a little bit. I'm getting ready to do a functional on this whole thing. This is Celestron. Oh, the finder scope here is the one I bought. I don't even remember who makes it. But I used to have this in a Dobsonian mount for visual observing. I used it like that for years. I used it out here for that, like that for years. Had it on a Meade mount for a while. But with the advent of computer go-to mounts, I had to go ahead and buy one. So this is a Celestron. It's a computerized go-to mount. I've taken the tripod that it comes with off and took the bottom piece right here and welded up a pier for it. That goes down through the ground, and it's sitting on a slab of concrete, probably 4 foot square, with legs of concrete that go down into the ground 2 or 3 feet, so it's not moving. So I'll go in and get the camera and start setting it up, and we'll do a functional. nice day, I figured I'd roll the roof off. Power up the telescope. We should have a focuser working. Let's try that. You're it. Go back the other direction. We'll use 100. See? There's the focuser, so functional check on the focuser is good. It should be pretty close to where it was before. And we'll minimize this. Well, I don't think you can minimize it. You just gotta bring the other ones over top of it. Alright, so now let's bring up C2A and connect to the telescope, make sure that works. Sometimes you have to change the comm. Nope, looks like we're hooked up. So I'm not sure where we're pointed because I can't see the screen because there's too much sun. I'm gonna have to go close the lid. Since I couldn't solar align it, there was no real good point of having the lid open. So we'll close the lid. We'll run through this just to make sure it works. So we should be on the eastern horizon. Telescope's pointed about right there. At least it thinks it's pointed right there. So we'll point it right here. If I can get both, so I can minimize that. Next thing I need to do is bring up my guiding software and connect that to the scope. To do that, usually it comes up and connects automatically. What's over here? So we'll connect to both of those. So now we're connected. There's the screen. Put this button out of the way. So there's the exposure. So that's functional is good. So the only things left now is the filter wheel, and the camera itself. This is an ATIK camera. I think it's a 318L. It's a monochrome or black and white camera. It's cooled. It has a 27°C difference, they call it delta, between outside air temperature and what it cools the CCD chip down to. This is a Nautilus filter wheel. There's 6 filters in now. Yeah, there's 6 filters in there. There's an IR filter, a blue, a green, a red, and a nebula filter. And they go right there. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. Before I put that on there. Let's take you up here. Culmination. You center up over. Everything should be centered, and it is. If I center this over the hole, everything should be centered. Basically like that. I checked it the other night, it was good. That sun warmed up things fast. So, we'll do the filter wheel functional next. Make sure it's on nice, good and tight. I'll try and get this on there the same way every time. I like to get this power supply cord pointed perpendicular to the camera. Make sure that's good and tight so it can't fall out of there. And then we have to connect the filter wheel with the computer and then test it. I can't, there it goes. Hear that da-dun? That means the USB pickup is good. Now we should have, if I wired this right, I won't get a sound until I add power to this camera. So now we got the camera powered up. Now we just got to see if the computer's going to talk to those two. This is my old Windows 7 computer, by the way. I tried to get the software to work with the Windows 8, Windows 10. My newer computer, it wouldn't work. Alright, so we bring up Nautilus controller. See if it works. We got that. Now if you're going to listen, because you can't see anything happening, and as well as the mics are on that, I think you'll be able to hear it. So that went to the filter number 2, which I think is an empty slot. I have those written down. But 6 is blue, I'm pretty sure. Let me make sure I can find that file. Filter wheel number assemblies. So 0 is a nebula filter, 1 and 2 are empty, 3 is IR, 4 is red, 5 is green, and 6 is blue. So that functional is good. So now we've only got one more thing to check, and that's the heart. There it is. We got a focusing dialog box. I have a dialing box to control the camera. Binning, bin be x equals 1. Right now our binning in y is in x, so it equals 1. Full frame. Stretched. This here, I don't know how much you can see of that. And then we have, you can start the exposure by pushing this button. But I'm not going to start an exposure. Well, I could, but it's just going to be all whited out. I don't need 26 seconds. See, it's just going to be whited out. It's taking a picture of the ceiling. But temperature, I'm not going to cool it down. You can see here, this is the cooling. So right now we're setting at 29.1 degrees, so I could cool it all the way down to 2.1 degrees Celsius. But what I wanted to accomplish, I've done. Everything's working. So we'll shut things down. Artemis is working, check. Filter wheel's working, good. Put this back on 0. Sky camera's working. Good. Autofocuser will do one more function on that. That works. Autofocuser works, so we'll shut that one down. And the telescope works. So it's been a pretty good functional. Everything works for once. Like I said last time I used this, the power supply crapped out on me. So now all I need is a clear night. The line that calibrates the mount. I want to calibrate that mount because I want to do it now that PhD, the guiding software for that guide scope, has a drift alignment function on it now, and I want to use that to see how well my mount is in a line calibrated to north and altitude. I might do that tonight if it's clear, but I have another 2 weeks before the moon's out of the sky. So that's progress. That's a functional. Should all works. Tutu. Ta-ta.